It's your boy Homo Manning 18. I'm doing a tier maker again. I'm doing something that nobody's done that I've seen on YouTube. NFL defensive tier rankings. Yep. So this is just defense, no offense whatsoever. So just to make things easier, I'm gonna put Chicago in the A tier. It's like a grading system, except actually, to be honest, let's just get rid of the E because there's no such thing as an E grade. Unless, I mean, not that I know of. Another one. Now Bears, you gotta keep them in A tier. Uh, hmm. Looking at these teams, I'm gonna put Green Bay just in the C tier. I mean, Jair Alexander has shown some strengths, but then he's also shown some weaknesses. Um, they got Rashawn Gary, who did not have the best stats for his for his height and his ability. He did not have the best stats, but they lost Clay Matthews, who wasn't really a factor to begin with. Kyle Fackrell had a great season, but like I said, all those good things, they have their bad things. I think they're a good C team. Yeah, good C defense. Patriots, to be honest, let's talk about New England. Belichick will make them good regardless of who's on there. They got Michael Bennett now, but Gilmore's one of the top corners. I'm trying to think. They got the McCourty twins, a bunch. I think they're a good C tier. I mean, if this was the year, I believe what was it, 2017? No, 2016 Patriots. Then I'd move them up, to B. But Belichick can make them an A, just like that. But in terms of actual talent on that defense, they lost Trey Flowers to the Lions, but I think they're a good C team. Atlanta. Atlanta is definitely getting an F. They have an A offense, right? I believe their first three picks were all linemen. Maybe it was just first two. But yeah, defense outside of Deion Jones, there's no one on that defense is elite outside of Deion Jones. Atlanta is definitely an F defense, one of the worst. I'm gonna put. Usually, I'd put the Buccaneers at an F, but they got a defensive. Or cancel that. Bruce Arians, I just remember, he's offensive. He could be defense, but he's offensive coach. But anyways, they got a good coach. Devin White, great pickup. They just signed Dominican Sue today. I think they're a D defense because at least they have players, unlike Atlanta, who just has Deion Jones, who's really injury prone. So yeah, Falcons are definitely rebuilding that defense. I'm gonna put they're not Falcons. Buccaneers are definitely rebuilding that defense. I'm gonna put them at a D. Jaguars. I'm I'm putting them at a B tier here. Listen, if this was a year ago, obviously it'd be an A. They lost Dante Fowler Jr. to the Rams. I'm not saying he was elite or anything, but the Josh Allen pickup was a really good pickup, and they got a steal for him at 7. Arguably before the draft, people were saying he was a top 5 pick, and he was. He was a great edge rusher in Kentucky. So I think they have a B tier just because I mean they went 3-13 and they're horrible. They were horrid at stopping the run last year. But like I said, the secondary, Jalen Ramsey, good corner. You can hate him, but he is one of the top corners in the league. Um, Malik Jackson, trash, and I'm pretty sure they got rid of him. I don't quote me on that. But anyways, Browns. Cleveland, I'm also put at a B tier. Listen, they have the talent of an A tier, but they just haven't shown it. Like I said, Myles Garrett, great. Denzel Ward, great rookie year. And then you look at Greedy Williams. They stole Greedy Williams in the second round. I mean, like a month ago, they're saying like he was going to be the first corner taken off the board. He's he's tall and lengthy, but needs to put weight on. But like I said, they got the LSU connection. And basically, yeah, they did lose Jabril Peppers to the Giants, but let's be real, they gained Odell. But I think the Browns, they're rebuilding that defense. They're basically, yeah, they're rebuilding the defense. Browns B, Myles Garrett is he was the first pick for a reason. He showed it last year. Cincinnati Bengals. Gotta put him in the F squad here. They took Jonah Williams, who was arguably the best lineman. They also want his perfect, who, let's be real, he was either injured or suspended. They have not had an elite defense since a while ago. I'd say about 5 years ago, back when Geno Atkins and like Carlos Dunlap were in their primes. Which Geno Atkins, he's still one of the best DTs in the NFL, so I can't complain there. Whew, looking over these teams, Giants. Gonna, I'm gonna give them a D squad. Their last two picks were pretty good. Okay, their first pick was where, but Jabril Peppers, safety. DeAndre Baker corner and Dexter Lawrence DT. See, they're rebuilding the defense, but yeah, their first pick is where they went wrong in the Odell trade. I'm just gonna say that. But they have those players. I'm not gonna go and put them in F tier, even though they'll probably have a bad defensive season. Um, Eli Apple. Um, Eli Apple. I don't even wait. He's not even on the team. Yeah, he's not even on the team. I don't know why I mentioned him. Forget that, y'all. Eli Manning, or I mean, Eli Apple's a saint. I don't know why I mentioned him. Who's that other corner? I can't think of their other corner right now. I was about to say DRC, but he's been gone forever. Okay. Anyways, Lions. Detroit. I'm gonna put Lions C tier. They don't really, outside of Darius Slay, I wouldn't consider anyone on that defense elite. Um, Trey Flowers is just another Patriot player. I mean, he had 7.5 sacks, and yeah, Glover Quinn hasn't been himself since he led the NFL in interceptions about a few years back. But they do Snacks on that defensive line, which I heard he has been number one in run stop. I'm not sure if it's true for the past year. I think their defense is definitely above average. I wouldn't put them in B yet, just because it's the Lions. I'm sorry, y'all. Minnesota. I'm putting Minnesota B tier. They have all the talent in the world, but last year they just slumped. Um, their first pick this year was a center, and then their second they got a tight end. Harrison Smith, one of the best safeties in the league. Anthony Barr, Linval Joseph. I could just go on. They have Everson Griffin. How could I forget about Everson Griffith? Uh, but one player who used to be what you'd call elite, who really has been letting up yards. He's pretty old now. Is crap. What is his name? They still got Trey Waynes, but I'm trying to think of that one Minnesota Viking corner. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name. He used to be elite, but he's getting older and he's downgrading. Someone in the comments will tell me I can't think of the Vikings corner right now. Anyways, Texans. Texans, I'm gonna give them a C. Watt, Clowney, and that one linebacker had a good year. I can't think of his name, but they lost Tyrann Mathieu, who was a huge part in their secondary. Last year they were top 8 in against the pass, but they didn't really have an elite corner. I mean, the loss to Tyrann Mathieu was huge, but they've never really been a really bad defense. So I'm gonna put them at a C. Indianapolis, they have all the cap in the world. And let's see. I'm trying to. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't remember the Colts' first pick offhand. But Darius Leonard had a great year. All right, we'll come back to the Colts. Cardinals, I'm giving them a D. Chandler Jones, Patrick Peterson's going to be suspended for 6 games due to PEDs. Byron Murphy, cornerback out of Washington, great pickup. First pick in the second round. So I mean, he might be the new Patrick Peterson in Arizona. Uh, yeah, but they're really young. Chandler Jones is probably out past his prime now, so I'm gonna put him at a D here. I mean, Chandler Jones still is getting double-digit sacks every year, but didn't have a good defensive year last year, so I'm giving the Cardinals a D. Uh, Eagles. Alright, we'll skip. Pittsburgh. I'm giving Pittsburgh a C here. Devin Bush, great pickup. T.J. Watt, outstanding year last year. Cameron Hayward, another good edge. All right, guys, I'm back. I believe I was talking about the Cowboys. So yeah, I'm putting them in A tier. They had the number 7 ranked defense last year, but I saw them in the wild card versus us. They just looked absolutely dominant. I mean, If you look at that defense, Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, arguably the best linebacker duo in the NFL. DeMarcus Lawrence, great season. He's he's gonna get you double-digit sacks every year. Byron Jones really improved, aka the combine stud, who broke the leap, or was it long jump record? Can't remember. And he broke it for like in the world, not just NFL. Just had to mention that. Anyways, Cowboys A-tier defense. They're gonna, hopefully training camp they can get even more better chemistry and they could really, be an elite defense. Because 7 to be in the A's squad is quite a reach, but I still think they could do it because they have probably the most talented roster in the NFL. All right, looking at these teams, Chiefs. I'm gonna give them a D. Reason I'm not giving them an F is they gained Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu. And if you ask me, Frank Clark's an upgrade from D Ford. They got D Ford went to the Niners, right? But what's his name? The other one, the Jones guy. Can't think of the first name. He had 16 sacks. He was the better person than D Ford, and they kept him. They lost Eric Berry, but Tyrann Mathieu's an upgrade from Eric Berry, if you ask me. Eric Berry just those injuries. He wasn't he couldn't get back to his prime. Chiefs still don't have no corners, linebackers. Yeah, but Tyrann Mathieu with the Texans, they were a top 6, top 8 against the pass. Now he goes to Kansas City. That's a huge reason I'm not putting in an F. Yes, we all know they don't have a defense. Now speaking of it, Ravens, the #1 defense. You see, no. They lost Terrell Suggs, who, yes, he was old, but he was the leader of that defense. They lost Eric Weddle to the Rams, and then they lost, Terrell Suggs to the Cardinals. And basically, they didn't go defense in the first round. They got Marquise Hollywood Brown. So C is pretty right for him. They never really have a terrible defense, even if they have no Pro Bowlers. They play well together. What's his name? Marlon Humphreys really stepped up. If he can do that again, he'll probably make the top 100 of players of 2020. But yeah, it's just the players they lost. That's the reason I'm bringing them down to a C. My Seahawks, gotta put them in a C. Had we still had Frank Clark, I hope what's his name, Collier, L.J. Collier, can really prove me wrong. But I sort of thought we should have got Byron Murphy, who the Cardinals got. But had we still had Frank Clark, I'm being honest, I would put us in B because we have the best linebacker. Yes, I said it. Better than Luke Kuechly. Best middle linebacker in football, Bobby Wagner. What's his name? Tedrick Thompson. I thought he played above average. Bradley McDougald really stepped up in the absence of Cam Chancellor. He was originally a free safety, but this year they moved him to strong safety, because they needed him. And Tedrick Thompson took over free safety. But I think our defense is literally a little underrated. If there's something between B and C, I'd put us there, okay? I'm not showing any bias. Keep in mind, how can I show bias when we have the best middle linebacker in the NFL? And that's facts. Okay, next. Saints. I'm putting New Orleans B squad. They played so well together, but they didn't really have any Pro Bowlers besides, Cameron Jordan and what's the corner's name? Marshawn Lattimore, who did not have that good of a corner year. If he made the Pro Bowl, it was off his name. Had a great rookie season, but Marcus Davenport needs to stay healthy, and if they can get 2 good pass rushers, Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport, that says it all. But they play well together. They last year, if I'm looking at my chart right now, where are you, New Orleans? Last year they were number 14, and a lot of that has to do because Marshawn Lattimore had a terrible season, but if he could step up his game, because Patrick Peterson's had terrible years, and then when he stepped up, the Cardinals were a top 5 defense. That is why I'm putting them in the B squad. They have the talent to do it, but they need to just play good together. Bills. Buffalo, it's so tough here. I'm going to put them B here. And it's so funny. They don't have They don't have Pro Bowlers, right? But they were the number 2 defense in the NFL last year. They got Ed Oliver, who was a good DT who could really stop the run out of Houston. Great pick there. But Preston Brown went. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember if he's still on the team. I believe he isn't. I believe I want to say he went to the Redskins. Never mind. He went to the Bengals. Never mind. Anyways, you get the point. They were number 2. They didn't really have any Pro Bowlers on that team. I mean, so this is a team who used to have Kyle Williams, Mario Williams, Marcel Darius, one of the best D lines, and then they sort of lost it. Jerry Hughes is another one, and then they lost them. I think they're a great ran team, but yeah, I mean they play the Jets and the Dolphins twice a year, so what can you say? Rams, I'm putting them also at a B. Ooh, oh, here we go. Now, my reasoning behind this is they had a terrible defense. They went out and spent a lot on defense. Talib, Marcus Peters, Dominic Sue, Clay Matthews, Eric Weddle within 2 years. But they have the talent. They didn't play well together, but Marcus Peters is still young and still in his prime. Clay Matthews out of his prime, but the one corner, I want to say Trumaine Johnson had a great year. He had a better year than Marcus Peters, but still, Peters, Talib, and Johnson is a scary trio for corners. All right, next the Jets. I'm putting Jets at a C. Quinnen Williams, perfect pick. Jamal Adams, upcoming great safety in the NFL. That's my reasoning behind that. Chargers. Chargers B, not quite an A because really, had they had showed something against New England, I would think about putting them in an A. But they just got their booties handled. But Derwin James, Casey Hayward, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, that's a scary top 4 guys right there. And they had another corner I can't think of who arguably had a better year than Casey Hayward. They have a really good defense, right? They need to keep it up. They need to keep it up, and that's my reasoning behind that. They did get helped by the refs in a few games, but other than that, I can't lie. This defense does look scary, and they're probably here. They're probably the best defense in the B category. I will confidently say that. Denver, gotta give Denver a C. Bradley Chubb, Von Miller. That's all I'm gonna say. One of the best pass rushing duos in the NFL. They're losing their secondary. They don't have Talib anymore. They don't have Bradley Roby. They don't. Chris Harris Jr. might be traded because he really wants that contract extension. And the defense that won the championship, most of the guys aren't even there anymore. No Darian Stewart, no Malik Jackson, no more Shane Ray. Like all those guys not there anymore. Bradley Roby and so forth not there anymore. Carolina. I'm also giving Carolina a C, just because they actually didn't have a bad defense last year. If we go to total defenses, I believe they were Carolina. Yeah, okay, they were 15. They were slightly above average, or average if you want to say. But Kuechly, was injured. I believe he missed a few games. I cannot remember, but Kuechly is one of the best linebackers, second best middle linebacker in the game. I believe they can get even better. They're not a D or an F. They've never really had a D or an F since they got Kuechly. And Week 17 versus the Saints, I mean, they did do really good against the backup quarterback, which is not a good. It's not a good reason. I'm just throwing that out there. Miami. It's so tough. Miami, I've given them a D. Christian Wilkins, or was it the other one? I believe it. Yeah, it was Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins. Yeah. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, and if Rashad Jones. If Rashad Jones could just stay healthy, they already have one of the best corners in the NFL in Xavier Howard. He's one of the best, hands down. Really underrated. They don't have really any good linebackers. They don't have a good pass rush. But Christian Wilkins will get them better. I believe they're top 10 below in stopping the run. They were from 32 to 22. They couldn't stop the run last year. I'll back up my statement by telling y'all where they were in run stopping right now. Against the run, Miami was, there you go, they were second worst in stopping the run, proving my point. 49ers, giving them a C. I can't go to the B squad yet just because we don't know how Dee Ford, Nick Bosa are going to play together. But, Sherman's getting old. Malcolm Smith, literally, they got all the Seahawk players. But still, Dee Ford and Nick Bosa do look sort of scary. But that is one of the reasons I'm putting them here. If we go, when they were against the run, San Fran, I believe, yeah, they were they're a little above average. And against the pass, they weren't that good against the pass. So, yeah. Indy, I'm also putting a C. Damn, the amount of C teams we have that are just average. Darius Leonard, great year. I'm frightened about one other person on that defense who had a pretty good year. Somebody tell me, was it Sheard? Who knows? But yeah, I'm putting them at a C. They have all the cap. They could go out. Oh, they did get someone in free agency. I can't think of his name. I know who it is. I can't remember who the player is, but they got someone. Justin Houston. They got Justin Houston. I mean, like I said, he's getting old, but still. They have all the cap. Next year, I could possibly see them being an A because they'll have a lot of cap to sign all these free agency defensive players. Let's see. Raiders. Raiders, I gotta go F here. I'm sorry, they had such a terrible defense last year. They drafted good, I would say, defensively, outside maybe Cleveland Farrell. But I thought, what's his name? Jonathan Abraham was a good pick for the defensive side, but yeah, you gotta keep it at an F. If you see a tier list of defenses and they're not in the F or the lowest one they have, I'm sorry, I'm gonna question that YouTuber. Redskins, damn, this is a tough one. Because if my memory serves me right here, they were top 16 top 16 against the run, which I want. They're D here, okay. They didn't get anyone in defense first round. They had to get a quarterback. And first round players you draft on defense are really huge because most of them pan out, or half of them I'd say pan out, and half of them don't. Ryan Kerrigan's getting older, and Ryan Kerrigan's been underrated for his whole career. Josh Norman, you can't rely on him. He's not like he was his last year in Carolina when they went to the Super Bowl. And Rashard Breeland, just a joke of a corner. Tennessee, for the moment, I'm gonna put him at a D. Usually, not Brian Burns. Simmons is probably gonna miss the year. What's his name? The other D lineman. He's been out of his prime for a while. Basically, they don't have the Pro Bowlers on their defense to contend, and I think this is definitely a rebuilding year for Tennessee. I wouldn't consider their defense complete trash though. Philly. I gotta put Philly at a D here. They lost Michael Bennett. What's his name? The one guy with the tattoos who was a really class guy who just recently retired. I mean, he wasn't really, elite ever really in his career. Maybe with the Patriots or a year with the Rams. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going blank here. It's late at night. But you know what I'm talking about? The white guy with all the tattoos. What is his name? He has a brother for the Bears on the lineman. I can't think of his name right now. Oh, it's long something. I can't think of it. I want to say it's long something. But yeah, their corners. I mean, just everything last year. They got saved by Big Dick Nick, and yeah. Anyways, this is my tier rankings. Tell me what y'all think was wrong, what was right, and yes.